in a card game not so far away. When C-3PO and Scarecrow's names are taken, you create your own Straw Man. Battles rage on in the galaxy and fights commence with glow sticks because lightsabers are copyrighted. A farm girl becomes a full something like a Jedi but not a Jedi because Disney would sue. Comes unique creation of the Wizard of Star Wars. Cosmos.
What's up YouTube, Dale here from the Zephyr Wargames, bringing you the deck that won the poll by like 1%. So I will be doing Dream Mirrors as well, don't you worry. And that is Cosmo. Now, this deck was so hard to actually try and put together because there's so many different versions of it. You've got the True King version, which is very, very good, but it can brick. You've also got the Chaos version that I've looked into, and the issue with that is you control your graveyard, but you control the graveyard more during your opponent's turn. So if you play the Chaos version, you have to set up your graveyard. Tin Can is one of the best to do that. Then leave your cards in the graveyard for an entire turn to then banish them to bring out your Chaos cards the next turn. So it takes a little bit of building up. This version that I've gone for you is the control version. And by control, what I do mean by that is I play a couple of spicy little traps, kind of lock down your opponent. Tin Can gets a search. One big issue with this deck that it didn't have in the past is that Ash is a thing. So getting an Ash from your Tin Can in the end phase sucks because you can't really play Call by the Grave because unless you want to hold on to that Call by the Grave, like, are they going to Ash me? Are they going to Ash me? Oh, boom, I can use it. You're pretty much keeping a dead card in your hand that would then be better off being set. But then if you set it, you can't protect your Tin Can. However, that being said, the way we do play this build is that our Tin Can should technically be safe from Ashes and imperms towards the end of the turn. But if it does happen, of course, the beautiful thing about these cards is they can activate their effects, tag themselves out, and then dodge certain effects. With that said and done, please smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so you do not miss out on anything. And let's get on to today's profile of Cosmos. Now, Cosmos are, of course, a mixture, or they were, I believe, a TCG exclusive of a mixture between Star Wars and Wizard of Oz, which is why we had that type of intro that we did. But regardless, you play triple Tin Can. This is the most important and powerful card. It is the only other one that hasn't, I don't believe, got a gold print either. So it's actually the harder one to get because it hasn't had a reprint, but there's reasons for it. So during the player's turn, the exact same as all the other pilots, you tag this card out to special summon 1 level 2 or higher Cosmo monster from your hand. But during the end phase, not your end phase, but the end phase, you can pay 500 life points to reveal 3 Cosmo cards with different names from your hand, from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to the hand and send the rest to the graveyard. So again, this is really cool if it comes off of like an E-Telly during your opponent's turn, but then again, you're still relying on giving it a turn to set up. Then for the other pilots, we only play one of, so you play the one Farm Girl, the one Stormtroopers, and the one Strawman. So obviously Farm Girl leads into your OTK. Sword Trooper allows you to special summon 1 from the hand to kind of build up your banish zone for your field spell, but then on top of that be able to special summon a level 4 or lower, so get you another pilot from your hand. And then Strawman allows you to recycle your banished, so he's going to be more important. But because all of these are searchable, they're recyclable, that's why we're only playing 1s of each of these. And then for the final pilot, we've got the one Dark Lady. Really, really like this card. It's a shame it's a level 5, but it makes sense that it's a level 5 at the exact same time. So it has the same effect as all the pilots, that during your player's turn, you can banish this card to special summon 1 level 6 or higher Cosmo monster from your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. During either player's turn, when another monster's effect is activated, you pay 1,000 life points to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. So it's a nice little negator that sometimes it's kind of good to end your board on something like this, plus your other like your control cards within the deck to deal with it, and then kind of build from there. Onto the ships, of course, we're playing triple of Dark Lady's ship, and that is triple Dart Destroyer. This was the £100 card. This was, kind of what started that trend. This is insane. So if it is normal or special, you target one monster on the field and destroy it. It can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you banish this card from the graveyard, special on 1 level 7 or lower. So the ships rely on destruction to then banish themselves to special summon lowers. And you can see why this was so important. Back in the day, not being able to be targeted, not being able to be, for it to be able to come out and destroy stuff as well. it just made it so incredible because like you didn't want to destroy it because then they got a float. If you couldn't target it to negate the effects, it was just such a pain in the backside to deal with, which is why you play him at 3. Then got double Slip Rider. So this one is basically your back row hate. So if it is normal or special items, you target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. Again, target on the field. Then if it is destroyed, you banish this and special summon level 4 or lower Cosmo monster. We've then got double Dogfighter. Now we are playing the virus in this deck, but which virus I hear you scream, you'll find out soon enough. We play double Dogfighter. This could probably be cut down to 1 if you want it to, but this is actually quite important in the control version. So once during the standby phase, you special on 1 Dogfighter token, Machine, Dark, level 6, 2000 attack, 2400 defense. If this card is destroyed by battle, sent to the graveyard, banish it, special summon at level 5 or lower Cosmo. But the idea is that you're going to swarm your board with tokens that can either be used for link summoning, or what you're going to be doing more times than not is using it as virus fodder. We've then got the 1 Forerunner to regain you life points, can't be targeted, and a giant boss to deal with. And then of course the 1 Eclipser, purely because it can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, another nice bonus. But this is the only one that doesn't float, which is sad. So during either player's turn, when a trap is activated, you banish 1 Cosmo monster from your graveyard and negate the activation. And if you do, destroy that card. And then if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, banish it. And then you get to add 1 level 8 or lower Cosmo from your deck to your hand. So you've got the Searcher in it, which is good. But it's the reason you don't play Planet, and it's the reason you don't play this at more, is that by the time they made Dark Eclipser, they'd pretty much covered all the bases with the level 8s and lower. So Eclipser had to kind of add, because if it floated again, it would just be nuts. But it's kind of a cool card. Allows you to protect against stuff like evenly matched because you are playing control. You want to block out your back row. You could play Planet if you're worried about spells, but most of these cards, you don't mind them being destroyed. They're just going to float and cause more issues. For the spells, we do play Triple Pot of Extravagance. Now, quite easily, you can take this out for Allure of Darkness. I think Allure of Darkness can be quite good in replacing this, but this is just better to bait out the Ashes early on to give you the additional draw cards so you can just go, cool, control, let's go. If you were to play the Allure version, I would also advise putting in Desires. You could also put in that 1 copy of Card of Demise as well. But if you were to do something like that, I'd probably then try and say to you to work on a Chaos build, because then you'd want to get to your Chaos space, set your Chaos space, build up all of the graveyard, and then off you go. And I'd also say bump up your Revival traps on grave as well. For the field spells, we've got double Cosmo Town and 1 Terraforming. Now, this is something I'm actually fighting with. Now, the reason I've only got this at 2 is because it clashes with Extravagance. In the sense that it is on-field effect is absolutely fine. Once it's on-field, your opponent isn't going to want to remove it because you get a free search. However, you could arguably take out the Terraforming for the 3rd version. And the reason I've kind of done this is, off of Extravagance, I don't want to draw this. Off of Extravagance, I don't want to get Terraforming because I can play it, I can still do my plays, which is absolutely fine. It's a bit of a weird one, and it's the biggest issue in the deck for me right now is I don't know what ratio I kind of want to put it at. I want to have it at maximum, but then my sanity is saying, no, don't do that because my luck, I'm going to get this with Extravagance and it's going to make the second effect harder to deal with and it just clogs out a little bit. But yeah, no arguments in the sense that if you wanted to bump it up to 3, if you wanted to bump it up with 3 plus Terraforming, absolutely fine. We've then got the 1 E-Telly, contributes towards your OTK, contributes to getting Tin Can, and we've both seen how important Farm Girl for the OTK and Tin Can is for the search. 1 for 1, Tin Can. Reasoning, you play everything. You play levels 1s, 3s, 4s, 2s, 5s, 7s, 6s, 8s, you call it. So Reasoning is going to be the top dog in this deck, and it's part of the reason Reasoning got hit to 1 was because of good old Cosmos. Because we are control, we do play a hefty lineup of traps. So we play Triple Trap Trick. Now the reason we play Triple Trap Trick is because all of our remaining traps are normal trap cards. So Trap Trick counts as technically a 3rd, 4th and 5th copy of any of our traps in the deck, which is so important. So we play Triple Infinite Impermanence because, going first, going second, 0 turn, whatever, this is the most powerful trap in the game right now just because it acts as a hand trap, it covers your duties that you need, shuts off back row zones. So as a overall card that can be played in anything and interfere with anything, this is the top dog. We've then got double Storm of Dragon Returns and double Back to the Front. Again, both normal traps. Once you've resolved it once, that's why we kind of want it off the trap tricks. If you open up multiples of them, great. If you don't and you use it off the trap tricks, absolutely fine. Storm Dragon allows you to target one of your banished monsters, which is what I'm going to be doing most in this deck. Bring it back to the field and then bring it back to my hand during the end phase. So it gives you recyclability, allows you to recycle your Eclipses, it can help you recycle any of your banished Cosmo cards, or you can just then recycle your Cosmo cards to tag them out, to banish them again, to then summon again. And back to the front, because you do put cards in the graveyard, you've got basically covering your banish zone and your graveyard. Then the virus we went with was Deck Devi. Now, the reason we went with Deck Devastation Virus is when I was considering all the decks that are meta, all the decks that are relevant right now, this was more helpful. So if you actually consider this, you treat one Dark monster with 2,000 or more attack. It also means you contribute off your link monsters, which is very, very important. You look at your opponent's hand, all monsters they control and all cards they draw until the end of their third turn after this card's activation. Destroy all of those monsters with 15 or less attack. Now, of course, the other one, the Grave Grinning that does 15 or less defense, is going to do the exact same to Eldritch that this will do. However, when you actually look at the Adamancipator matchup, this hits so much more because all of the Adamancipators have lower attack than their defense. Neither of them are going to hit the Block Dragon because it's just too strong. Neither of them are going to hit the Golden Lord because, again, it is too strong. But it will hit the entire Synchron engine. It will hit... most importantly, it will hit the link monsters on the field as well because they technically don't have defense. I'm not 100% sure if the Grave Grinning, not Grave Grinning, the other virus will actually deal with that. So the Deck Devi to me was more logical because you can wait until both those decks get their Halley Firebrax on board, and then you can trigger this, clear the board off. You can trigger it, clear off all their tokens. It gives you a lot more versatility. I also looked at Eradicator, but then I was like, Eradicator is useless against Adamancipators or very, very weak against Adamancipators. It's okay against Eldritch, but they can just banish the cards, the traps in the graveyard to get the recurrence back anyway. So this was the most logical virus that does enough damage to road decks, Adamancipators, and Eldritch, and of course Rockets. So the only one it doesn't hurt massively is Dinos. It would get rid of all the babies, but of course you're then going to be destroying those babies. So yeah, you'd take it straight out against Dinos, but then you could arguably put in the other one to deal with all their back row and Eradicator as well. The spicy one that I've put in is Torrential Tribute because you don't mind your stuff being destroyed. If you get your stuff to be destroyed or if you're going to tag your stuff out to then be destroyed by Torrential Tribute, you actually get an advantage from that. So any trap that allows you to gain advantage from destroying your own stuff, I think is well worth it. There is a brand new trap that comes out in Armageddon that you could arguably put in Cosmo, and I might consider it. But it's a bit risky. It's like destroy 2 cards and then draw 1 card for every 2 cards you destroyed, something like that. So it's a bit of a risky card, but might be a little fun tech card to put in and play around with. Torrential Tribute, I think, I kind of want to put like Stormy Mirror Force or something like that, but the idea is you don't want to search this off of trap tricks because you don't want your opponent knowing you have it. Again, if you look at the Eldritch and the Adamancipator matchup, they're not really clearing off the back row so easily. And their fear kind of goes away. Once they've gone like, oh cool, I've done my summon, I've gone past the judgment, I've gone past this, and this, they're not really worried about a Torrential Tribute. And when you go Torrential Tribute, they just go, whoa, what the hell? So let's imagine you do this once they bring back Despot 001. And before they bring out O-Line from deck, you just go Torrential Tribute. They lose everything. And then if you're popping one of your own Cosmo cards, you're getting a plus off of that and allowing to extend further. So doesn't have to be played. It's just a little techie card that I've put in. Easily take it out should you wish. And then finally, double Cosmojo. Such a cool card. Target 1 Cosmo monster you control and then destroy it. And if you do, banish 1 card your opponent controls. Non-target or in their graveyard. So you can banish out a Block Dragon, get rid of the Block Dragon, do whatever you want to do with the Block Dragon, get rid of the Golden Lord as well. Plus you're destroying your own cards. So it's kind of like Torrential Tribute, but a little bit better. Just not clearing an entire board. That's why you play it at 2. Again, banish it off of Trap Tricks and off you go again. You've got so many different options playing the Trap Trick engine as well. Now moving on to the extra deck. Now, it is an extravagance extra deck, so it is not really... you have to play each of these cards. So the way I'm going to explain these 15 cards is the type of card you're going to play. So we've got your Link 4 boss monster. Now, the important thing with your Link 4 boss monsters is that they must be cards that are 2+ effect monsters over 3+ effect monsters, because it's a little bit harder for you to get, flood the board with a lot of monsters. But the reason we've got this is you've got your access code for OTK plays, you've got your Zero Boros because you're banishing a heck of a lot, and then you've got the Unchained Abomination. Now, a lot of people don't actually put this in their Cosmo deck, but I think it's really cool because it requires 2+ monsters, including a Link monster. So even if you've got your tokens from your Dogfire, you can still use it to make it. Then if a card or cards on the field is destroyed by card effect, you're going to trigger that off with your Slip Rider, your Dark Destroyer, or if they pop any of your cards as well. Except by his own effect, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. When another monster is destroyed by battle, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. During the end phase, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. This allows you to control when your ships get destroyed. So, if you wanted to run through the Cosmo chain, you could technically have this on board, go Dark Destroyer, pop a card. Unchained Abomination, pop a card. That could then technically pop your Dark Destroyer because it can't be targeted by your opponent's effects, but it can be targeted by your effects. Pop your Dark Destroyer. So technically, even though you've only popped one off your Dark Destroyer, you've mandatorily triggered your own Dark Destroyer's effect to bring out another card. And that can then go into a Slip Rider. Slip Rider can then pop a back row. And then that allows you to keep on going. So it's a nice little power boss monster. Because you're playing Extravagance, you could put any of these at 3 if you wanted to. Access is probably the least relevant one, to be totally honest, purely because you've got enough power in your deck anyway. You don't really need access code. It is just a massive power play monster in itself. So if you've got it, play it. If you haven't, don't worry. I suppose this one technically comes under boss monsters as well, is the BLS, Soldier of Chaos. You're playing a lot of high levels, but 9 out of 10, like I said, you want to kind of make them float. So it's not a mandatory use, it's just a link-free choice. The other link-free monster we've got is the Topologic Trispania, because dealing with your opponent's back row all in one go is quite easy with this card. We've then got the Nightmare Engine, so you've got your Cerberus, your Unicorn, your Phoenix, and then of course the honorary member of IP Masquerena. Again, because you're playing around with the extra, you've got Extravagance, you don't need to rely on any of these in particular. You can actually reduce these, you can cut these, you can bump them up, you can do whatever you want. Nothing in this extra deck is a mandatory must, in my opinion. They are just high recommendations. Link 2s, to cycle through your field spells, get discards into the graveyard, and if your opponent really wants to wall up, you just go fine, Pentastagna, stop poking and doing piercing. Not that they're going to rule up too much when you're playing around with Dark Destroyer, Slip Rider. Link 1s that require level 1s. So you've got your Anima to go second, steal a card, nice. You've got your Link Kribo to go first for additional defensive materials. And that's if you're, very rarely you'd actually leave a tin can on board, because if you're going to leave it on board, you might as well let it ride into your opponent's end phase, or you're going to try and tag it out during your opponent's turn as well. So they're your kind of options. And then of course you've got the Nova and Infinity. Again, if you wanted to play more rank 5s, you could do. You have the ability to make it. It does require both Slip Riders. It is kind of easy to do, but it is very specific as well, which is why I'm not like, okay, I have to play these. It is an area that you can probably go, I don't need it that much. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go Extravagance Turbo. But if you wanted to take this exact deck list and adapt it because you don't have the Extravagance and go for the Laws and Desires, then you could easily just go, cool, I can have this exact extra deck as it is. If you don't have the BLS, if you don't have the access code talker, take them up, bump up your Novas and your Infinities if you want to, bump up your Link 1s. You can even bump up the Nightmare package, entirely up to you. So this gives you the versatility to pretty much just build this extra deck and then drop it into any version of the Cosmo deck, apart from maybe the True King version, purely because True King would definitely have VFD and Enter Blafnia, in my opinion. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that for the Cosmo deck profile. I hope you liked it. I hope it's given you a couple of different ideas as well. I've tried to make it different to everything else that I've looked and researched, and I talked it through with a couple of members of the team, and I feel Control is the more complete version of it right now. I feel True Kings is the more power play version of it right now, but its consistency is a lot lower than this version. And I think the Chaos version is definitely a good one to play if the game was able to grind out. In the past, you could grind out quite a lot with Cosmos. You can still grind them out quite nicely now, but the consistency factor is a lot lower, and the fact that your graveyard might not survive for you to then do your chaos plays to win the game from there on can be very, very damaging. I mean, Chaos Space is amazing. Chaos Creator, again, is also amazing. And you could even put Daedalus in here as well because you do rely on the field spell quite heavily. But there's a couple of different versions. I've already talked you through a couple of options as well. Talked you through like different options you can use into the deck and the extra deck as well. So have a play around with it. Let me know what your personal version is. But by all means, guys, as always, smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe so I can continue to bring you more Yu-Gi-Oh content like the profiles, like openings. And if you are enjoying the different type of openings I am doing, then please let me know, because the support you provide allows me to continue doing stuff like that as well, and bring you a different angle on everything to keep it as entertaining as possible. But for now, guys, as always, happy dueling. So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.